Jaya Girivardhari, Jaya Girivardhari, Jaya Vedabhallabha, Jaya Girivardhari, Jaya Girivardhari, Jaya Yashodanandana, Jaya Brajajanandana, Jaya Brajajanandana, Jaya Yashodanandana, Jaya Brajajanandana, Jaya Jaya Yashodanandana, Jaya Brajajanandana, Jaya Brajajanandana, Jaya Yashodanandana, Jaya Brajajanandana, Jaya Jaya Yamunatiramanachari, Jaya Kundalihari, Jaya Natiramanachari, Jaya Kundalihari, Yamunatiramanachari, Jaya Kundalihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Vihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Vihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Vihari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari, Yashodanandana Brajajanandana, Yashodanandana Brajajanandana, Yamunatiravantardi, Yamunatiravantardi, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Vihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Vihari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vijayana Yashodanandana Vijayana Yamunatiravanari Yamunatiravanari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Radha Kunj Bihari Radha Kunj Bihari Radhe Jaya Radha Ras Bihari Radha Ras Bihari Radhe Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radhe Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe Jaya Radha Gopinatha Radha Gopinatha Radhe Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe Jaya Radha Ramana Radha Ramana Radhe Jaya Radha Shyam Radha Shyam Radhe Jaya Radhe Shyam Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivara Jagacaya Sota Sapta Shishavachila Isi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jaya Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivara Jagacaya Sota Sapta Shishavachila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Anantaguri Vaishnavarinda Ki Sirav Sri Sanatana Vattaraganachi Jeev Gopala Vatadasaraganacha Goswami Prabhu Ki प्रेम से कोशि कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवजरी गौर भक्त वृंद की Sri Sri Radha Krishna Go Gopal Gopi Gopinath Cham Kund Radha Kundi Gadi Govardhani ki. Vrindavan Dham ki, Mathura Dham ki, Mayapur Dham ki, Jagannathpuri Dham ki, Vrinda Devi Tulsi Devi ki, Bhakti Devi ki, Ganga Yamuna Devi ki, Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki, Sri Sri Gaunitai ki, Sri Sri Krishna Balaram ki, Sri Sri Radha Sundar ki, Go Premanande Hari Hari Bol, Samavita Bhakti Vrinda ki, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. So we're reading from the Bhagavad-Gita as it is. Second chapter, text number 36. Avachavadam sabahon badishan nindantastava samartyam tato dukkataram nukim avachavadam sabahon badishanti tavahitaha nindantastava samartyam tato dukkataram nukim avachavadam sabahon badishanti tavahitaha nindantastava samartyam tato dukkataram nukim avachavadam chatubahon vadishanti tavahitaha nindantastatava samartyam tato dukkataram nukim avachavadam sabahon vadishanti tavahitaha nindantastava samartyam tato dukkataram nukim avachavadam sabahon vadishanti tavahitaha nindantastava samartyam tato dukkataram nukim avachavadam sabahon vadishanti tavahitaha nindantastava samartyam tato dukkataram nukim avacham unkind vadan fabricated words cha also bahon many vadishanti will say tava your ahitaha enemies nindantah while vilifying tava your samartyam ability tata then that dukkataram more painful no of course kim what is there. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation. Your enemies will describe your many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you? Purport. Lord Krishna was astonished in the beginning at Arjuna's uncalled for plea for compassion, and he described his compassion as befitting the non-Aryans. Now in so many words he has proved his statements against Arjuna's so-called compassion. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yodhabadakamalan Sri Gurun Vaishnavascha Sherupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadotam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpade Gopesha Gopikakanta Radha Kanta Namastade Taptaganjana Gaudangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sade Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Paditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivadari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare. And this chapter, so Krishna is speaking about the soul. That is the first important aspect of transcendental knowledge of the absolute truth. That we are not this body, we are spirit soul. And then that we belong to the Supreme Lord. And so here on the battlefield in Kurukshetra, Arjuna was not ready to fight against his superiors, which is natural. At the same time, there was a fight actually between dharma and adharma, religiousness and religion and irreligion. So Krishna is appearing in this world to give transcendental knowledge, to protect the devotees, to annihilate demons, and to establish religion. So at that time there were many impious persons, and so they had to be killed. And that is, actually by laws of nature, this is happening regularly. Of course, one who has taken birth in this material world is sure to die. Except those who are devoted to the Supreme Lord, and they understand that we are not this body, that we are spirit soul, the soul is eternal, and who are serving Krishna or the Supreme Lord, they are free from the cycle of birth and death. At the same time, they are coming in this world, so apparent birth is there, and then giving up the body is there also. But we should not be bewildered, but we should be engaged in devotional service, in religious activities, and we have to follow dharma, so religion, and ultimately dharma, that means to serve Krishna. At the same time, being in this world, we have to follow Varna Ashram Dharma. We have to have an occupation. And then we have to be in one ashram, either brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, or sannyas. So that has to be followed. So Arjuna, he was a householder, and he was a kshatriya. So he had to act according to this also. So this internal and external activities that Rupa Goswami has explained. Seva sadhaka rupena siddha rupena chatrahi tadbhavadipsana karya vranja lokana sarata. So seva sadhaka rupa. So as sadhakas, as practicing devotees, we have some engagement. Even there, so we follow the spiritual master. We follow in our line Rupa Goswami, who is very dear to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we follow Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the Kali Yuga avatar, who introduced the chanting of the holy names and who gave Braj Bhakti. So we follow Mahaprabhu. And then we take shelter of Krishna and Braj and Krishna's associates. So as practicing devotee, so we engage the body according to our psychophysical nature, so according to Varnashram. And but be Krishna in the center. At the same time, so we know this body, we're spirit soul. So what is the activity of the soul? That Mahaprabhu has also told to Raghunath Das Goswami. Amani namanana Krishna namasara labe, braje Radha Krishna seva manasya karibe. So we are humble, tolerant, not expect any respect, but give all respect to others and chant the holy names. And then Amani namanana Krishna namasara labe. And then we worship internally Radha Krishna. We remember Radha Krishna, we serve Radha and Krishna. So that is paradharma, that is the actual occupation of the soul, to be directly engaged in Krishna service. So, but we cannot immediately come to that platform, so we follow the rules and regulations. So Arjuna is a pure devotee of the Lord, but so it's coming in this world with Krishna, and so Krishna is coming to attract the fallen conditioned souls who are not engaged in Krishna's service, who are forgetful of their identity as spirit soul. They are not aware because under the modes of material nature. So for their benefit, Krishna is coming with his associates. And here so is giving instructions to Arjuna for our benefit also. Explaining that we are not this body, we are spirit soul, the soul is eternal, and so we have to engage in activities according to Varnashram. So Arjuna, he was a Kshatriya, so he had to fight. And he had to fight for the right cause. So the armies were there. Duryodhana's army and Yudhishthira Maharaj's army. And so Krishna, the Supreme Lord, he was saying, I will not take part in the fight. But then, so he had a big army and he himself was there. So he was saying, I'm not taking directly part, but I'm available also to help in some ways. So then, at one point, Duryodhana and Arjuna, they came to see Krishna. And Krishna was just resting, and so they were waiting, and so Duryodhana was sitting at the side of Krishna, and Arjuna at his lotus feet. So when Krishna was getting up, and then he saw Arjuna, and he said, okay, yes, what do you want? Because he knew why they came. So they wanted Krishna's help. But Duryodhana actually wanted Krishna's army, big army. Already had a big army, but we want to more people. More people will be stronger, will be successful. But Arjuna, he is Krishna's friend, is Krishna's devotee, and he knows that Krishna is all powerful, more powerful than his own army, of course. So then Krishna said, okay, Arjuna, what do you want? You want me to help, but I'm not fighting, but I can help in some way? Or you want my army and they can fight? Of course, Arjuna said, I want you, Krishna, of course. And of course, Duryodhana was there, and before actually Arjun could say something, then Duryodhana was saying, well, I mean, why asking first Arjun? I'm here next to you also. I came first. But then Krishna said, that's okay, but he's there at my lotus feet, so I'm asking him first. And then what to do? So he had to be tolerant. And he was thinking, of course, also that he will ask for the army. But Krishna said, I want you, Krishna. And then Duryodhana, of course, he was very happy. Okay, good, I will get the army. Most probably he was thinking Arjuna is such a fool. Instead of taking the army, he's taking only Krishna. So Krishna is there with Arjuna as a chariot driver, the Supreme Lord, but most humble. He's becoming the driver. Partha Sarthi of Parth, another name of Arjun, the son of Kunti. Her name was also Prita, and then Partha is the son. He's also known as Kaunteya, Kunti's son. So, Krishna is, of course, the Supreme Being, the Supreme Lord is most intelligent. And then he has his energies also. He doesn't even have to think much or do much. His energies are there. His internal potency is there. And of course, the external potency is there also. So, Krishna is there to help his devotees and is there to destroy the miscreants and establish the dharma. Therefore, so the place where they met is known as Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra. It is a holy place. So in a holy place, one performs devotional activities, dharma. Therefore it is known as Dharma Kshetra. And Krishna is the Supreme Lord, is the embodiment of dharma. He has established dharma. The religious principles, they come from the Supreme Lord. Krishna is performing his wonderful pastimes in the spiritual world with his eternal associates in a wonderful loving exchange. And unlimited planets are there with expansions of the Lord and their associates. But then in this material world, so some conditioned souls have come, and Krishna is trying to bring them to the devotional path. And then through Arjuna, so through Arjuna is giving this knowledge, and here he's encouraging Arjuna, who was a little hesitant to fight against his Gurujan. But then, so Krishna is giving this transcendental knowledge, so that we are not this body, we are spirit soul, and we should not lament. You do your duty. And because Duryodhana is actually not properly engaged in dharma. And so those who hate him, they are on his side, so that is adharma. Although the great kings, or some of them, or Bhishma Dev, Dronacharya, they were actually righteous persons, but they were obliged to be with Duryodhana. So therefore, they also going to have to die. But then, so Krishna is telling Arjuna that we are not this body, so there's no need to lament. We are spirit soul. So therefore you do your duty. And those who are righteous, so on the battlefield also it is mentioned, those who are righteous and were fighting, so if they win, they will have a very opulent life, because when there's a war and then those who are winning, so they will capture whatever is there and on the other side. But even if one is losing or dying, then it is mentioned those who are righteous, those who are pious, and those who are religious, they may go to the heavenly planets. Of course, even some may go to the spiritual world, if they are pure devotees of the Lord. So therefore there is no loss, and therefore you should do your duty. So Krishna is telling Arjuna. And so here, so Krishna is first explaining about the soul, and then again Krishna is telling that if you're not fighting, and if you think to be so-called compassionate, and I don't want to fight against my seniors, let me go to the forest and just do some tapasya. So, but actually, that is not the time to do that. And if you do that, if you leave the battlefield, then you consider coward. That is mentioned also in the scriptures. And then people will, as explained in the previous verses, people will just criticize you. And you were quite famous. Arjuna was already famous at that time as a great warrior, Maharati. But if the war is there and the Kshatriya is leaving the battlefield, so then, of course, he's considered a coward. If one is challenged, if a Kshatriya is challenged to fight, he has to fight. If he's not fighting, then he's considered a coward. Even sometimes, so they were playing chess, like also, and they lost everything because of playing chess also. Yudhishthira. Similarly, if one is challenged for a game of chess, and if one is not accepting, then same thing. Of course, that's a small thing, just playing chess, but it's a kind of challenge. And if one is not accepting, then is considered a coward. Small play of playing chess and is afraid to play chess, is afraid of losing, but a coward. But then what to speak of? So if one is challenged to fight, so with weapons, then a Kshatriya must accept. Otherwise he's considered a coward. If he leaves the battlefield, then people will criticize him, they will laugh at him. He'll become infamous. And then it is mentioned also, if one has been honored, this honor is worse than that. And then, so here in this verse, Krishna is telling Arjuna that so if your enemies will speak unkind words to you, will criticize you, and just laugh at you, and as mentioned, he has scorned your ability, so that will be very painful for you. So there's nothing more painful than that, than this. And so therefore they said, better to die. So Krishna is trying to convince Arjuna, of course, with many words, and also again giving him transcendental knowledge, exactly explaining to him why he should fight. And then, of course, whole Bhagavad-Gita is spoken. So it took like 1.5 hours. So it was a big war, and there were so many soldiers on both sides. And then to assemble everyone, millions of people. So it took some time, arrange everything. And therefore 1.5 hours, that was not such a long time to speak the Bhagavad-Gita. So Prabhupada in the purport is mentioning that Krishna was astonished in the beginning that Arjuna was speaking in this way. That I cannot fight against my Gurujan, my superiors. And so, of course, and then Prabhupada is mentioning also, so plea for compassion. But then here, then Prabhupada is explaining that, of course, explaining that Krishna is saying that that Arjuna's compassion is not befitting a Kshatriya. So because, for example, for the king, so if somebody is doing some sinful activity, somebody is killing somebody, a murderer. So the king actually, of course, usually will investigate why he murdered or he killed somebody that he has to do, or he has his people, his agents, his ministers, who will find out why did he kill, what were the circumstances. But then if he's seeing that actually it was not right to do this in his act of killing somebody, so at that point one should not be compassionate. Oh, anyhow, he's also a human being and it was his mistake, and so we should not be so cruel. So we'll give him some punishment, we put him in jail for a few years. So that would not be proper. And usually that is also explained in the scriptures. And if one is killing somebody heinously, then that person should be killed. So he's called and then he should be killed in whatever way. And just like we have seen also, and that is still there in Bharatvarsha also, death penalty. Although it is rare, but it is there. Just like a few years ago, maybe it was 10 years ago in Mumbai, some terrorists, they attacked. Actually for practically, of course, their jihad, they were Muslims and they have there some misconceptions and they want to impose their religion or their ideas, and for that purpose also they are ready to kill innocent people. So they killed innocent people at a train station, many, and so they were caught. Of course, some were gunned down. There were few, I believe 3 maybe, I can't remember, maybe 3 or 4. And one of them was caught. And then, of course, everyone knew that actually this person should be killed too. At the same time, there was a trial there and he had a chance to speak. Why did he kill? And even he had a lawyer to defend his case. But everyone knew he cannot win the case because it was unnecessary killing, innocent people. So everyone knew that he had to be killed, and then that penalty was given. So the government, the Kshatriya, the ruler, the king has to be strong. And so at that time, compassion is not right. Of course, sometimes there's an appeal to the president and he may then even revert the death penalty, but that is only in the rarest of the rare cases also, that one who has been given death penalty, that is excused. So that was Krishna who then told Arjuna that actually you should fight. But he still gave him the choice. But he explained to him that he should fight, and by the way, so he gave this transcendental knowledge for the conditioned souls, so they may understand that they have to serve the Supreme Lord. And it is actually very interesting that before such a great war, and many people are going to be killed, such an intense situation, and Krishna just by the way gave these so important instructions and very elaborate instruction in regards to devotional service and different kinds of devotional service. But Krishna is perfect and complete, because different persons are there in this world, and they need and they're on a different level of spiritual understanding, and they need different instructions. So Krishna is addressing everyone and benefiting everyone. So whatever Krishna does is perfect and complete. So karma, one has to act in this world, but one has to be connected with the Lord, and one needs to gain knowledge. So karma yoga is explained, jnana yoga. And because Arjuna wanted to just leave the battlefield and just go to the forest and be like a yogi and meditate on the Lord and forget about this whole material world. So he also explained about the Ashtanga yoga. But then he explained what is the highest form of yoga, that is bhakti-yoga. Meditating on the Supreme Lord, and at the same time engage in, of course, in the devotional service, but at the same time do one's duty according to one ashram. And therefore he told also to Arjuna that in the 8th chapter, Ante kale chamameva smaramakta kalevaram. At the time of that, one should remember me. So one should remember Krishna. So then according to one's remembrance, then one will go to that destination. If one is remembering Krishna, when we go to Krishna, to the spiritual world. If one is still attached to this world, one may come to this world. If one is pious, one will be elevated. If one is sinful, one will be degraded. So, but then Krishna is telling Arjuna that you remember me, at the same time you fight. So that is dharma for you in this world, according to Varnashram dharma. You have to fight. But you fight for the right cause, for dharma. At the same time you remember me also. So we have to remember Krishna. That is most important. So many things to do and things not to do. But most important is to remember Krishna, and we should never forget him. So, and then, so one will be successful. And then, of course, so the Kshatriya also then, towards the end of the life, then they can retire, and then they can go to the forest. Or just meditate more and be engaged in devotional activities. So we have to also act according to time, place, and circumstances. And we have to be under the guidance, ultimately, of the Supreme Lord, but in the beginning, we are under the guidance of the representative of the Supreme Lord, because we cannot understand sometimes what Krishna wants us to do. So then we take shelter of the advanced devotees, the experienced devotees, and they will guide us. At the same time, so we also have to try to establish our relationship with Krishna, which is already there but is dormant. But then by engaging in devotional activities, by serving the deities, then the exchange will be there. And then we can pray to Krishna also, directly, to guide us, to help us. But always we take shelter of the spiritual master also. But then we have a relationship with Krishna also. And that we have to cultivate, our relationship with Krishna. And then from within, Krishna will help us, and from without, from outside, so then the spiritual master is there, so that we are properly situated. Because unless and until we are pure and highly advanced, so we have to take guidance from the highly advanced devotees. But Krishna is there in our heart also, and trying to help us, guide us, so we should try to see that. And the deities are there, they're there to help us also. So therefore we take shelter of the deities in the temple or at home, and they will also guide us. And then we chant holy names, and Krishna, Krishna Nama are not different. And so then by chanting the holy names also we will get guidance, we will get inspiration. So then in this way then we can advance, and then we may eventually attain perfection. So as explained here by Prabhupada, that Krishna in many words, and he has proved his statements against Arjun's so-called compassion. So sometimes, just like if we try to preach to those who are not engaged in devotional service, avoiding envious people, artistic people, but those who are innocent, so we try to bring them to the devotional life. And then we have to actually use also so many words. And we have to try to convince them by quoting from the scriptures, by logical arguments also, and giving some practical advice. So in this way we have to spend some time with a person who is interested slowly but surely in spiritual life. And even if the devotees are there and the parents have to take care of the children and they have to spend time with the children, and we have to educate the children, of course send them to school, but then also at home we have to tell them what to do and what not to do. Proper behavior, character building, that the parents have to do also. And with many words, kind words, we have to encourage the children to take up the path of devotional service, to act properly, to follow dharma, to keep Krishna in the center. But first of all, we have to try to become perfect, or as perfect as possible. And then when we are nicely situated in devotional service, then we can also help others. We can help, if we are married, our children, and So that is our duty. When we are nicely situated or somewhat situated in devotional life, then we have to try to help others. That is a symptom of a Vaishnava. He's not only concerned about his own life or just his family, but he's concerned about others also. So that is a Vaishnava. So we should try to become Vaishnavas. Hare Krishna. Any question? Okay. So we stop here and we have some prasad for everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.